What's up, Steelers Nation? Welcome back to the channel, where we're always digging deep to bring you the latest, boldest, and most exclusive news straight out of Pittsburgh. As always, if you love the black and gold as much as we do, smash that like button right now. It helps more than you know. The Steelers are doing everything they can this offseason to perfect the roster, tighten the scheme, and position themselves to compete hard in 2025. But there's one major cloud still hanging over the entire franchise, and that's the quarterback situation. And guess what, folks? We may finally have a deadline. Let's get into it. Steelers fans have been waiting, watching, and maybe even praying for one simple thing: clarity from Aaron Rodgers. We've been patient, but that patience is wearing thin. The team is still in limbo, not knowing if the four-time MVP will wear the black and gold this year or walk away from football for good. But now, thanks to a former NFL quarterback, we might finally have a secret deadline for Rodgers' decision. That's right, Matt Hasselbeck, a veteran of 18 seasons in the NFL, dropped a little bombshell while speaking with Colin Cowherd earlier this week. According to Hasselbeck, there's a specific moment in the offseason that teams and veteran quarterbacks alike consider crucial. It's not phase one. That's just lifting weights. Doesn't mean much for a QB. Phase two? Just tossing to air, still not very important. But phase three, that's the real deal. According to Hasselbeck, May 27th is the start of phase three for the Steelers, and that, my friends, is the date we need to circle in bright, bold Sharpie. I would. Circle that May 27th date as a date that, it would really be detrimental to be missing time at that point, Hasselbeck said. And honestly, he's not wrong. Let's be clear. May 27th is not an official deadline. Rodgers could technically make his decision later. But if he does, it puts the Steelers in a really tough spot. Without a clear answer by that date, the entire offseason plan starts to unravel. Chemistry, reps, offensive identity, all of that gets delayed. And after the investment Pittsburgh has already made, financial, emotional, and strategic, you better believe they're itching for Rodgers to commit. Now, if he doesn't come to Pittsburgh, the team does have a plan B and C, and maybe even D. Let's start with Mason Rudolph. Steelers fans know him. He's not flashy, but he knows the playbook. He's been with the franchise through ups and downs, and even saved our 2023 season when everything seemed to be slipping away. But here's the thing. After his brief stint with the Titans, it's clear the rest of the league doesn't view Rudolph as a long-term answer. And honestly, that's fair. He's a competent backup, maybe a short-term bridge guy, but is he the one to lead us deep into the postseason? That's where things get dicey. Enter Will Howard, the rookie quarterback the Steelers picked up in the 6th round of the 2025 NFL draft. Now, 6th-round quarterbacks usually don't come with a lot of hype. But Howard, he's a little different. He's coming off a national championship with Ohio State. He's got swagger, and he's got a chip on his shoulder the size of Heinz Field. This guy is confident, battle-tested, and hungry to prove he belongs. Still, he's a rookie. And expecting him to lead this team in year one, that's a big gamble. But man, imagine the story. Howard takes over after Rodgers walks away, shocks the world, and becomes the face of the franchise. Stranger things have happened in the NFL, right? Now, let's talk about a curveball that came out of nowhere. Steelers insider Mark Kaboly dropped a hot take during an appearance on 93.7 The Fan. When asked about the team's current QB room, he said, and I quote, "I think Mason Rudolph is better than Justin Fields." Yeah, let that one sink in. Justin Fields, who went 4-2 as a starter for the Steelers in 2024. Justin Fields, who was brought in as a potential long-term solution after Russell Wilson got hurt. That Justin Fields, Kaboly went even further, saying, Fields might have played better than expected, but still not better than Rudolph. That's a bold statement, especially considering Fields' overall resume. Let's remember Fields was drafted 11th overall in 2021 by the Bears. He's thrown for over 7,700 yards and rushed for another 2,500 in his NFL career. He's a dynamic, dual-threat quarterback, and yet Kabbali thinks Mason might be the better option. Now look, Rudolph does have experience and familiarity with the team, and he's certainly had his moments. But is that really enough to elevate him above a guy like Fields? That's the debate Steelers Nation needs to have. Everything we've talked about, Rudolph, Howard, Fields, it all comes back to one man, Aaron Rodgers. If he signs with Pittsburgh before May 27th, this entire conversation becomes a lot more optimistic. Rodgers brings immediate credibility, playoff experience, and leadership. He takes pressure off the young guys and gives the team a real shot at competing in 2025. But if he doesn't, the Steelers are left scrambling to choose between a backup, a rookie, and a wild card. That's why May 27th is such a critical date. The Pittsburgh Steelers made headlines in the 6th round of the 2025 NFL Draft by selecting Will Howard, a quarterback out of Ohio State. On paper, a Day 3 pick isn't supposed to shake the foundations of a quarterback room, especially one that may still include Aaron Rodgers and has veteran Mason Rudolph waiting in the wings. But here's the thing. Howard isn't your average 6th rounder. He's already drawing comparisons from fans and insiders alike to some very notable names. And one former Steelers quarterback in particular is popping up in nearly every conversation. Let's set the scene. Howard had a monster season at Ohio State, helping the Buckeyes on their path to the national championship game. His combination of size, mobility, and leadership caught people's attention. But it was his attitude, his chip-on-the-shoulder underdog mentality that's resonating most with Steelers fans. Sound familiar? Brian Batko of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette recently jumped on the North Shore Drive podcast and dropped a take that had fans raising their eyebrows. Quote, "Will Howard kind of reminds me of Kenny Pickett, without the first-round pressure and expectations." Whoa, that's not a shot at Kenny, but let's be honest. Pickett came in with sky-high expectations. After finishing 3rd in the Heisman voting at Pitt, fans and the media crowned him as the next franchise guy the minute he walked into the building. His first start came in Week 5 of his rookie year, and from there, well, you know the story. Inconsistent play, an offense that never clicked, and eventually a trade to the Eagles, where he backed up Jalen Hurts and won a ring before heading to Cleveland. It never quite worked out. Now enter Will Howard. According to Batko, both quarterbacks have similar profiles. Neither has elite arm strength, but both are tough, football-obsessed leaders who elevate their teams with grit and edge. The difference? Howard isn't walking in with the weight of the city on his back. He's got room to breathe, and that might be exactly what he needs. Let's talk about the resume. Will Howard started 27 games at Kansas State, throwing for over 5,700 yards before transferring to Ohio State for his final season. He didn't explode onto the national radar until late in 2024, but when he did, man, did he make it count. Big throws, big wins, and big leadership moments. But even with a strong year at a major program, Howard fell all the way to round 6. Why? Some scouts questioned his consistency. Others didn't see enough elite traits. But here's the twist. The Steelers did their homework, and they believe they've landed a QB who's not just talented, but tough, smart, and coachable. Howard will now come into camp as QB3, behind Mason Rudolph, and possibly even Aaron Rodgers, if the future Hall of Famer signs on the dotted line. That's a low-pressure environment where he can develop at his own pace, without being thrown into the fire like Pickett was. And honestly, that might be the best possible situation for him. Now let's pump the brakes just a little bit. But not before acknowledging the elephant in the room. Yes, some fans, and even a few bold analysts, have thrown out Josh Allen comparisons. Now look, Allen is the reigning MVP for a reason. He's a monster physically, has a cannon for an arm, and can take over games with his legs. Howard isn't quite on that level, but the comparisons aren't about raw talent. They're about development. Remember, Josh Allen was raw coming out of Wyoming. He had accuracy issues, needed time to settle in, and Buffalo gave him the runway to grow. Now he's a superstar. Will Howard? He's got that same late bloomer, upside-laden vibe. And in the right system, with the right coaching and patience, who knows? Stranger things have happened in this league. Let's look at the current QB room. Mason Rudolph is steady, knows the system, and saved the Steelers' playoff hopes last year. But he's not the long-term answer. Aaron Rodgers, if he signs, he brings instant credibility and mentorship, but he's not here for 5 more years. Will Howard, he's the wild card. He could be a backup, he could be a camp cut, or he could be something more. There's no pressure, no expectations, and no fans banging down the doors, calling for him to start right away. That's how diamonds are made. So now, we turn it over to you, Steelers Nation. What do you think about this quarterback situation? Should the team wait on Rodgers past May 27th? Do you believe in Mason Rudolph as a legitimate starter? Could Will Howard be a surprise rookie sensation? And how do you feel about Mark Caboli's take that Rudolph is better than Fields? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear it all. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more exclusive Steelers content, and tap that notification bell so you never miss a moment. We're building something special here. The black and gold deserve the best, and we're here every step of the way to cover it all with you. Thanks for watching, and as always, here we go, Steelers.